Welcome, Matty. Welcome to the show. We ready to go after pretty much a horrible day so far, unless the Yankees pull off something miserable. And really, what started last week as awesome times for the Knicks, seeing the Garden, seeing Seventh Avenue fans pour out in the street, seeing excitement, seeing drama, to feeling like I got kicked in the nuts. Today was terrible. How you doing, Matty?
I was, other than the sports, it's been a good weekend, a long weekend, and I only have a couple of days left of school before exams, which I don't have to take because it's COVID year, so I can opt out if I have an A.
Hey, that's
So,
looking on the bright side of COVID. No exams. Hey, it's
yeah,
not all
but
bad.
the sports, it's just I think it's more of an embarrassing kind of like it's just they don't both the Yankees and Knicks just I know they're trying, but it looks like they're not. Like it looks like they're kind of just
Hey,
thrown into a
getting
position.
your doors blown off or swept by one of the worst teams in baseball, or losing to a franchise that's just as young as you in basketball, it's frustrating. It stinks, but
Yeah.
we will move on. For those of you joining us, this is the Maddie and Joe Talk Sports podcast, episode 1. We are off and rolling. Maddie is my nephew. He resides in the North Carolina region. I live up in New York. We're all New York fans, and this will be highly New York themed. So if you're not into it, probably not going to love us. But Maddie, let's talk about the next game. Heartbreaker. You get blown out today. Julius Randle
Yeah.
stinks again today. He looked nervous. He had open threes midseason that he would take that shot. He ran away from that shot and would drive to the basket, an awkward pass. And Reggie Bullock was not even involved in the game. I don't know where he was today. Maybe the ankle injury is bothering Nerlens Noel because he is not even appearing in games. The guy who played great, Taj Gibson, he's been incredible. I don't think his stats show you how great he is. Derrick Rose couldn't do another 30 points again today, but what's your thoughts? It's not looking very good.
Well, I wrote a whole long paragraph of notes on here. I do want to start with the positives. Randall did crack 23 points today, which is I think is a way to look up
Yeah,
as it
boy.
is. But
It's good to hear you positive, but the shooting percentage was El
oh, it's
Stinkerono, and it just looked bad. It looked
it
terrible.
really, yeah, really. All I have to say is Rose and Gibson have been the only positives throughout the series. I think Randall, with even he didn't look good today, but at least he put up a solid amount of points for his confidence level. But then I'm gonna start that. Now I'm gonna bring him up. Now I'm gonna destroy him. They, they,
Hey, that's how it goes.
in my opinion, their season's done. They have looked horrible, and they have
Never give up.
clearly.
Never give up.
But I really I'll be 100% honest with you. I think they should have been swept. They've been manhandled every single game, and I think Atlanta beat themselves in game 2.
Yeah,
There's I
but the
don't
Knicks have not shot at all. Like they were a great 3-point shooting team. Nobody can hit a shot. It's just awful. And
they're yeah,
you could
and
say
there's
young players, right? Julius Randle's first time in the playoffs. RJ Barrett, first time in the playoffs. RJ Barrett's, 21 years old, 20 years old, super young. So I'll give you that. But Bullock's not a kid. Burks had one great game. He did not hit the open basket today.
Randall's not a kid. Rose is not a kid. Gibson, they're a lot of them aren't kids. So I
Yeah,
think
it's only the veterans who are playing good. So does that give me optimism? What's dawning in the back of my head is me laughing at, I believe the stat was Atlanta was 19-2 down the stretch at home. They look like they kill anybody at home right now. Trae Young, as much as I want to tackle him out there, he's unstoppable. He's taking threes from half court. Then he's gliding through the lane, 3 guys floating at him. He either shoots the floater over the top or somehow finds a pass and gets an
or
easy
draws a
dunk.
foul.
Yeah, or there's a 3-point shooter, a Bogdanovich or Herder sitting out there just bombing threes, and it's they're doing to the Knicks what the Knicks did to other teams, and the Atlanta's defense looks a lot better than I thought. Did they go back to the Garden? I'm having a brain spasm. Did they go back to the Garden for Game 5?
Yeah, on Wednesday they will. Then I really
All right.
see them. I see them losing in 6. I see them
I love the
bouncing.
Knicks winning next game. I like
That,
that. The energy
yeah,
of the crowd, I think, will take them through. Someone's going to shoot the rock finally and have that confidence at home. But It's not looking great for the whole series, but we'll take it one game at a time.
Well, I think really what's the dagger is you look at. I know free throws haven't been it's usually not a big conversation piece, but I really, if you look at Trae Young, he hasn't missed a free throw all series.
The
I'm not
Knicks
saying
were a
that
good free throw shooting team during the year. They don't look so great right now.
they have, but one I could two missed free throws critical down the stretch in the last 7 minutes of game one was frankly the difference in them losing that game. So I pinpointed that a little bit. Another thing is you could say, yeah, this team they are young. They are young, but so is Atlanta.
Yeah,
Atlanta has a bunch
it's
of
very
players,
true.
and they're destroying. I'm just gonna say they are destroying the Knicks in 3-point shooting. It's been back-to-back games with at least 15 threes or more for Atlanta. The Knicks are giving up wide open looks,
Oh,
and they need to stop.
wide open.
They need to stop whining after calls and
Well,
giving
that
up
I
all.
always think the whining is horrific. Yeah, I just thought in today's game they looked horrible in the first half, but they were right there. And then Atlanta had that little stretch at the very end to kind of pull away and take a lead. But you had Trae Young with 3 fouls. The moment he steps back on the floor in the second half, Bullock or whoever's facing him should have went right at him. Should have really aggressively tried to get him that 4th foul and at least make a play a little different. It's not like he's a great defender or he's in their face,
Yeah.
but you get him off the court or at least thinking about something else. It helps. They were never really in this game today. They looked terrible. They need another scorer. I thought RJ Barrett looked okay. I know you're tough on him, but I thought at least he was attacking and going to the basket, which they need to
He
do.
definitely was better. He was 100% better than.
Bring that confidence back in there. Oh man, I don't.
The thing is, really, I mean, to really conclude on part of on the Knicks part, we could go into a little more about Atlanta, but to conclude on the Knicks part, I think they've been unable to make simple adjustments for their own good, and they continue to play embarrassing defense. And I love the Knicks just like the rest of my teams, but for what was such a great performance, I know we're only 4 games in. For what was such a great performance in the regular season, it's kind of been embarrassing to watch these 4 games because yeah, they've won, but they
Yeah, I don't know about embarrassing. I mean, as a New Yorker, we never like to get beat, as nobody does, and so maybe you just see how far this team, like the playoffs are different. The Knicks were supposed to win 21 games this year. They doubled that up. They did it by playing great team defense. Randall was the scorer. Going into a playoffs, if Randall's not scoring 30 points and he's not getting close to double-digit rebounds and 5 assists a game, they are got nothing else. Like when Rose doesn't do it, they need another piece. It's a tribute to how good the coaching staff is, how good the veterans have been. Yeah, but it's a huge disappointment. It's a bummer.
I want to make 2 notes here too. That one, the difference from them when the first 2 games at home versus these 2 in Atlanta is that at home, even though they lost game 1 and should have lost game 2, it was kind of more like a wide open scoring. Quickly was throwing up points.
Yes.
Toppin was throwing up points.
Pass, shoot, no decisions.
We saw nothing of Quickly or Toppin in 3 and 4. We saw nothing of. Let me think of more guys off the bench. We saw
Toppin got some minutes, but it was too late already today.
Good, yeah.
It wasn't a chance to make an impact. Like he had those little spurts when he came in, and I agree in game 1 and 2 and brought the energy, whether it was a dunk or a 3-point. But he has that crowd lifting energy.
And 100%. And the last thing to add on to that is I think at every single point in the series, Atlanta has done something that the Knicks have been clearly unable to do, and that is go on a run or completely, for example, let's go into, game 1. They were on a destructive run in the first quarter, and the Knicks couldn't make a shot. And that was kind of really it with the big runs. Then in the first half of game 2, they were just going I don't even know what the words to say it. They were just they looked unstoppable. The Knicks looked they had no chance to win. They were down by 14, I think, at half. And then you look now in games 3 and 4, The second quarter was the massive collapse where the Knicks that's where they lost the
Yeah,
game.
it killed them. And normally in the third quarter, that's where the Knicks are. At least I'm not a stat guy, but they always seem like a great third quarter team where they came in with a plan. They locked down on defense and all of a sudden started shooting the ball, and it hasn't been the case here. They let it slip.
Yeah. Well, I want to go over quick a stat I have pulled up here of the scoring.
Let's hear it.
Throughout. So I'm going to go over all the quarters they've played. So if you look at game 1, Atlanta outscored them 24-16 in the first. The Knicks outscored Atlanta 34-28 in the second. In the third quarter, the Knicks outscored Atlanta 23-19. So by that point, the Knicks kind of felt like they were going to win, and then Atlanta outscored them 36-32 in the fourth. So really, that one's not a good example. That doesn't really show what I'm talking about. But game 2 is where it does kind of.
Just give me the second quarters.
Yeah, we'll start with the second and third quarters. In the second quarter of game 2, Atlanta outscored the Knicks 30-24. Then in the third quarter, the Knicks outscored them 32-18. Now in the third quarter, game 2 has been that's been the highest amount of points the Knicks have.
Yeah, they can't score
them in a quarter.
But do you think it's good Atlanta defense, or to me, it looks like just ice cold shooting has crushed confidence, where guys who would normally grab it, shoot it, are now like making weird, uncomfortable drives to the basket and like kicking it out. The pass is not great because they threw an awkward pass, so that 3-point shooter gets it, has to adjust his feet. He doesn't get off a clean shot, or it's at the end of the buzzer. It's not good.
There was a lot of rim outs today. I'm gonna give them.
Yeah, Barrett had a ton. It's those Atlanta rims. They tinched them tight.
But yeah, this is where you're gonna see the biggest difference though in games 3 and 4. In game 3, the Atlanta outscored the Knicks 29-13 in the second quarter, and then the third quarter was 28-28. But that doesn't do anything for you. That's not a bounce back but you cannot be outscored 16 points in a playoff game quarter and expect to really still be in the game. And then
unless you're like Golden State and you could just be bombing threes left and right. But it's no way to survive, especially for a Knicks team that is not an offensive team, and that's their problem. They need another scorer.
And then you look at the scoring in game 4. The Knicks outscored them 26-25 in the first quarter. Looking up, I think the Knicks could have had a much bigger lead.
They should have been up by 15 at the end of it because Atlanta wasn't playing well. The Knicks just can't hit open shots.
Yeah, but quarter 2, they Atlanta outscored them 28-23, and then in the third quarter 35-22, and then the fourth quarter 25-25. So really, they've had in Atlanta, each game they've had one quarter that ends the game for them.
Yeah, they just get too hot. Hitting
3 threes in 40 seconds for Atlanta.
Yeah, that was a dagger today because that was right when the Knicks had gotten a little momentum and it was boom, boom, boom all over, and the crowd's into it. And it looked like the crowd was close to sellout today, which it is nice to see crowds at games again.
Yeah, it really is. And I really hope that the Knicks don't lose it at home. I hope they don't lose in game 5. I hope they can, because they've surprised me in a very bad way in these first 4 games. I hope they can surprise me in a good way, because I'm certainly
Excuse me, Matty. Excuse me. No, I think they're going to surprise you. The power of the world's most famous arena, as I will always make Caroline learn that statement, and she never remembers it. I think the power of that will get them another game. I think people are pumped. You could feel the energy around here. I could feel the energy just through my phone, just about like people I haven't talked to in a long time who are engaged again. And it just feels good. The city feels like it's got some life. So let's hope. I think they win the next game. I think for the future of the Knicks, Randall needs to finish this, whether they win or lose the series, needs one game where he just dominated, or at least gets 30, does his season average so that he could end the offseason.
I thought he was today.
Yeah, not the case. He did not look good. He turned down the easy shots. There was air balls.
In the first 10 minutes, he had 7 points. So I was like, okay, he's.
Yeah, but they weren't pretty. It was like 3 had 9. It was not good shooting. Like he shoot 50 shots, and he missed like open shots that he would hit, and that's what's scary to
Yeah.
me is like it was sitting right there.
Well,
But
before we move on to the Nets, I do want to
give me your prediction. What's your Game 5 prediction?
I see the Knicks. I see the Knicks winning and then them losing in Atlanta to end the series. I think
Close
that's
game, big game. Give me a little more details.
Um,
I'll give you what I say. I say Knicks 102, Atlanta 94. Atlanta finally has a game where they can't shoot. Randall comes through. He doesn't score 30, but he gets a solid 20, 25 points, plays good, and you get a good team effort, rally around the crowd. I think it's more a result of good defense than good shooting for the Knicks. And
Now, what I hope is that Game 5 can if they say they win by like 13, if they win in a convincing fashion, I hope
just
that
gotta win.
I hope that like pushes them into kind of like I think that's what they're gonna need to win in Game 6. If they're gonna,
they need confidence, so they need a game that's gonna give them confidence. It's like,
and I think they got to get through their head. It's gonna be a similar thing. I'm trying to connect this to 2015 second round Stanley Cup playoffs when the Rangers had home ice advantage over the Capitals. They lost Game 1 on a last second goal by Ovechkin. Then they won Game 2 at home. They lost 3 and 4 on the road where they were dominated. And then
I'm laughing because it reminds me of WFAN where you're like the Boomer Esiason. It always comes back to hockey, and I love it. The Rangers got nothing good going on right now. I love it. But keep going.
But then in Game 5 they were down 1-0 with less than 2 minutes left, and Chris Kreider scored a goal with the net pulled, and then they just erupted on a McDonough overtime winner, and they went into Washington and won, and they came back to the Garden and made some.
We've seen it a lot of times. It's the most fun thing I think about sports is momentum. Each sport has its own. Hockey has a much more physical tone that you could set where you could bring the momentum even if you can't score. That was the 90s Knicks. You could bring the physicality of the game. Baseball, your momentum really rides with your starting pitcher, as they say. So it's not as easy to influence that. But hey, you get hot one game, a hot shooter can carry you through. That's all it takes. So I'm not giving up on the Knicks. Let's win Game 5. Let's move over to baseball, Matty.
That's how you got to look, though. I do want to make one last comment.
Yeah,
I think that's how you have to look. I think you have to look at it just now. It's not, we have to win 3 games. Now it's just,
hey, down the stretch, they had to win games to get that 4 seed so that they could get the home field. They did it one game at a time. Maybe the pressure on Atlanta, a closeout game. Usually they're a young team, will add extra pressure to them, make it more difficult. Just win Game 5, move on. You'll be fine. And either way, this is valuable, but it's going to give the Knicks. I'm curious, like now with the Bullocks, the Burks, Noel, you going to bring these guys back next year?
Yeah, I would think so. But yeah,
we'll see. We'll see what the money is. But that's a topic for another show.
I do though have what was I going to ask? I was going to ask a question.
Cue the music.
Yeah, I'll wait.
We'll circle back to you. Bring it in. But Matty, speaking of baseball, which we'll move into the Yankees. I don't know what the score is currently. Last I saw, they were losing 6-0 in the bottom of the 8th. But you started baseball this week. It's been what, 2 years? I feel like since you've been hit the field again.
Yeah. Yeah, it was fun. It was kind of. Well, I didn't play a good game, but it was.
Well, I imagine you're a bit rusty to jump right into baseball, but it was good again. What's your team's name this year?
What is it? They do like a local sponsor, so it's like.
Yeah, I love those. I
think it's like Honda or something.
Honda, that's not bad. At 1 year, I was a funeral home. That was a little disappointing. Yellow shirts with a funeral home logo is not exactly the coolest thing for a teenager. So
yeah,
take Honda and run with it and love it. But let's get into the Yankees. Looks like they're going to get swept by the Tigers, one of the worst teams in baseball. What the hell happened? The offense dried up, completely gone. Granted, hey, the weather was absolutely freezing. It's horrible. I'm looking outside. It looks like we're going to have 5 inches of rain in this weekend. It's miserable out there. So I'll
Yeah,
give a little
same
to
here.
that. The pitching has not been good. Bunch of injury news over last week. Not a lot of good. Where do you want to start?
Well, I'm just gonna start and go over all of it. They're down 6-2 in the bottom of the eighth, so they put up a lot. I do want to start again with a positive. Aaron Judge is batting over 300. He's
Looks good.
continuously
Looking good. Just gotta stay on the field.
he's been healthy. Stanton just came back. Did freaking
I
Golden
know
Sombrero
but
strike out. I mean, but you know what? Can't worry about that. My one problem is the Yankees can't stay healthy, and I just don't know if you how you could do this all year and keep up with the Rays and the Reds. Well, the Red Sox are going to fall, but I just don't see the Rays are winning every single game. They've won like 8 straight. They're unstoppable.
what about the Blue
And
Jays? I mean,
I'm
the division is all good.
they they are, and the problem is I want to go ahead and look back to the first game. The Yankees,
First game,
they,
Detroit or Blue Jays?
Detroit. I'm not gonna really talk about the Blue Jays. They always lose against that. They just can't play them. So
Hey,
it's
the
all
Blue Jays are loaded with hitters.
it's all mental with them. It's all mental. They just can't
I
beat
don't
them.
think the Blue Jays have the pitching that will catch them. But the problem is
They won.
you
Yeah.
you got the Orioles, who everyone just clobbers. I almost feel
Mhm.
bad for the Orioles because the Red Sox are hot. The Blue Jays are not hot, but they're a loaded team with young talent. And then you have the Rays, who are just clobbering these teams. The Orioles they're going to get pounded this year by 4 good teams in a division.
Well, I was looking at it coming into this year, and I was like, yeah, man, the Yankees lock for 100 wins. I don't even know if they're gonna win 90. They're really. I mean, I think the Red Sox are. I think they're fake, and I'm gonna tell you why.
I
Because
agree.
I think
And I'll say that every season, and you know that. They are
and
definitely
the
fake
Yankee.
losers.
I feel like if I think the Yankees are gonna set them straight. They look hot, sure, but they're gonna come into this 3-game set that my brother is supposedly going to when they play the Yankees and Yankee Stadium. I don't see the Red Sox as competitive. Their team, their lineup's not good.
No,
And players with
they're
no guts. They're
well.
not. They're not a
Maybe
threat
they
to
got
me
a manager in there who's cheating again, but that's another
for sure.
topic.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not
no
scared of
one plays
them.
that good.
The Rays own the Yankees, which is
I'm scared of the
embarrassing.
Rays
The
100%.
Rays it's embarrassing to be owned by this team. Like but
Yeah,
Cashman has done a terrific job, but like now you start to wonder, like they took Kluber was a risk signing. If
it
he's
was.
not going
Yeah,
to pan out unless he comes back and is able to pitch solid in the playoffs. But now he's going to be gone for 2 months, whatnot.
yeah. I mean,
There's some of these when you take these high risk signings, it's not working out. I remember when they signed even Aaron Hicks to what was it, like 7 years, $70 million, and I was
done
like,
with
"Ooh."
him. He needs to
But
go.
at the time, I was like, this is probably a really smart deal. And for baseball, $10 million a year for a center fielder with a lot of upside. It's great. He's never on the field. He's been
Yeah.
terrible.
Well, I kind of
So,
want to go over. Yeah.
go
Sorry. Go
ahead.
ahead. I
I was
kind
going
of
to
want to
say
go over.
Severino, he's
No,
supposed to come back, pitch in
we
simulated games.
we need it bad, but
Needed. The timing is key.
I kind of want to go over my worries, concerns, and positives. Let's start with the one positive. I'm not worried about them not making the playoffs. I think they'll. If what I'm worried about is them making the wild card because it's a very weird position.
Yeah. It's
I
not where you
mean,
want to be.
I they still can obviously win the division. I don't think they will because the Rays really are
I
healthy.
still think they're winning the division. I don't know
They
how the
need help.
Rays. How the hell are the Rays? Everyone goes there and overperforms. Maybe
Here's
it's
the
because they
problem.
play in front of nobody. You come to New York, you underperform, except for DJ LeMay. It's
The
frustrating.
problem is the Rays are doing what most teams in the MLB can't, and they breed talent. Most teams out of their farm system. The Yankees can do it half the time, but more recently, they're starting to
Well, I
make
think what the
deals to keep
Rays
going.
also have not done is sign guys for 10-year contracts that end up sucking.
Yeah,
Look at
100%.
the Tigers today, who they're playing. I'm looking at Cabrera's average, and he's hitting 192 with 4 home runs. I think he's got paid 8 years, 250 million or something like that.
Ridiculous, yeah.
And now you on the back end of these contracts, you get killed. Like Detroit, did he come through 2017? He was a stud, but I think they still got 2 more years of just eating this money the way the Pujols contract. These long contracts, you really pay the price at the end, and the Rays never have those. They always trade them for young prospects before they sign anyone to a long
Well, I
contract.
want to go over, if you don't mind, because it might take a tiny bit, like a minute. So to go over the Yankees lineup, current lineup today, and each of the players' averages. Now this lineup is weird. One, you have LeMahieu batting first, playing
Which
second.
I'm totally on board with.
He's batting 268. Now let me share my thoughts on that. That's not bad, but he
Long
hasn't
season. Long season.
he's
Look at don't worry about him. Look at the
he
back of his
hasn't
baseball
popped
card.
off yet. So
He's
yeah, I'm not worried
starting
about
to
that.
get there. He's starting to get there, but it makes perfect sense to get on base. He's a
Yeah.
good.
And Stanton being the DH batting second. I like him in the second spot.
What did he do
He's
today,
batting
Stan? Anything?
0 for 3, 2 strikeouts, a walk, and a line out. But he's batting 266, which is a complete positive for me. I like that. That's a very good average for him.
He's looked good. He's just got to stay on the field.
Yeah, always. And Judge 1 for 3 today. I love him batting third. I think that's makes the Yankees
agree.
much more versatile. And he's batting 303, which is outstanding. I mean, that's outstanding for how many at bats he's had this year.
Yeah, we're all waiting to see how long is it going to last.
Well, he's only been 1 for 3 today. He had 2 hits yesterday, so we'll see how that pans out. Urshela 0 for 4 today, batting fourth. I'm fine with that. 264.
But
That's decent. Could be better.
maybe I'm a little traditionalist, but it's weird that he's in the cleanup spot. Gio Urshela doesn't scare me in the cleanup, but whatever. It's a different game.
Voit to be good.
Voigt's going for 2 months. Well, I don't know, 2 months. They said
2
multiple
months.
weeks. Yeah,
No, that's Kluber. Kluber's 2 months.
No, Voigt's out with a oblique injury.
Yeah,
and,
but
obliques. They said a couple weeks. And with an oblique, for a big guy with a lot of muscle who takes aggressive swings, it's like when Judge had problems. You have to make sure that's 100% healed, or the first swing that they miss on a breaking ball in the dirt ends up tearing rib muscles or something.
That's why George Springer has barely played any games for the Blue Jays this year. Every time he comes back, he re-injures the oblique.
Yeah, it's not good for a hitter. It stinks.
Well, I'm gonna go through this fast now. I'm just gonna restart. LeMahieu 268, Stanton 266, Judge 303, Urshela 264, Torres 265, Sanchez 202, Andujar 213, Frazier 176, Wade 257. Frazier, horrible season so far. You should not be batting anywhere in
Yeah,
south
I know, but there's guys who are going to struggle, and you got to get going. Their outfield is not looking good. I know you love Brett Gardner, but he can't be your long-term answer at center field. He is at best.
He doesn't have a big arm, but defensively he's good. His offense is just average.
He's solid, but for center field, that they gotta. I don't think he could be playing every day.
I think Gardner, he hasn't gone deep yet, and I think once he goes deep, that'll be a kind of chain reaction for him, like it has.
He has those like one-handed swings that just go to the short porch, and he usually hooks one for a home run.
I want to share my beef with him. Gardner's my favorite.
I know your household loves Gardner,
but my problem is the guy steps up, he looks at 2 strikes right down the middle, and now you're 0-2 every at bat. Swing the bat. Like, what do you?
Well, I'm sure they go in with someone's telling them, hey, this guy doesn't throw strikes. And
ridiculous.
That guy knows that he's not expecting to throw strikes. So there's all that strategy and game within it. But I agree. The count starts. You get in a bad count, you're in trouble, and it just compounds itself.
Well, yeah, and I think I'm gonna go back to my concerns a little bit. I know you said when they were 5 and 10, we shouldn't be worried.
That's right.
They're not throwing up the same lineup every day. You cannot have Tyler Wade starting in the playoffs and expect.
Yeah, but there are injuries. Like if Tyler Wade was on the Rays, people would be fine. They'd be like, "Oh, here's the guy. We use his speed. We use his defense. We move him into 10 positions. When they bunts, he hits it the other way. It's how you use the guys. Do you want him starting in a lineup that should be loaded like this? No. Long way to go for the Yanks. Long way to go for these other teams to slog through it. It's all about the pitching to me. I think Britton's going to be back soon. He had a positive rehab start. You get Britton back. Severino, if he gives you a fourth starter spot, I'm not even asking for the number one starter spot. I'm looking for a guy who goes 6 innings, gives up 3 runs for the rest of the way. That's going to be enough to win you a lot of games and get you that home field advantage.
I'm gonna tell you right now, he comes back and gets re-injured. I'm done with him. He no longer.
Well, you're not done with him because in baseball you can't get rid of these guys. You're committed.
He hasn't been healthy since, like, when? I don't even know. That's how long it's been. He needs to be healthy. The Yankees, I mean, they're.
But
the problem is
these things take time.
The problem is the fact of losing when Garrett Cole's on the mound. Every single time it should be a win when he's on the mound. Let alone when you're playing the Tigers.
We only got to look across. We only got to look across the river and see the Mets when they have their ace go out there and they can't hit. They can't.
But that's not even. It's just going against the Tigers and you score 1 run for Garrett.
It's terrible.
6 innings. That's horrible.
It's terrible. Yeah.
This guy can do the world for you. Like he's dominant.
So can DeGrom over there in Mets, but for some reason it doesn't always work. It's a long way to go. I mean, we're looking out right now. It's freezing cold. Doesn't feel like baseball. When these guys start getting into the heat where it's 90 degrees and the pitchers, start putting a little more juice on the ball, it's going to be okay. The Yankees come back. They're all about staying healthy and keeping guys in the lineup. And that rotation, they can't have another like Kluber, 2-month injury. There's going to be guys who maybe they have a dead arm and need to miss a start. But, King didn't look good at all today.
Well, yeah. And
he's not living up to the hype at all. Your boy Garcia is not living up to the hype at all. Yeah, that's where they should have never named him Baby Pedro. That's the biggest mush ever. I don't want anything to do with Pedro Martinez.
Why did they even relate him to a guy?
Come on. It's horrible.
Now let's give. I'm going to do a kind of other, not our favorite teams, kind of scoop around the league. The Nets up 2-1 in their series with the Celtics. I'm not worried. Very confident.
They're going to kill them. It's not even close.
On the other side, the Mets are trending upwards after got a little win streak starting to add up.
I don't even know how they're pulling it together. The whole team's hurt.
They continue to increase that lead in the NL East. I think they're going to easily win that division. That division is embarrassing.
I'm surprised. That division was supposed to be one of the best in baseball. The Nationals, the Braves, these are good teams. Phillies are supposed to be great.
We thought when Joe Girardi's going to come, the Phillies.
Well, they spent a ton of money. Yeah.
Harper,
they spent a ton of money in those divisions. That was supposed to be a premier division, and it's a long way to go. By the time August rolls around, I bet Atlanta is within 5. I bet they're within 3 games of first place and pushing down someone's heels.
I do want to make a quick note. Also, the Yankees are the bases loaded, 2 out, down by 4 with Aaron Judge up in the top of the 9th. So that just increases the stress.
What?
But yeah, they're down by 4 with the bases loaded, 2 out.
I chose the wrong room to watch this game, Matty. We're gonna have to have a little live broadcast on there. Can you let me know how it's going? And you can't do it worse than John Sterling call. So just make sure if it's hit out that it's really going before you get me excited.
And that ball is drilled deep to left field and caught.
Caught before the warning track.
Yeah, well, it's just, I mean, but with the Phillies are Bush League. I mean, go cry. I was really disappointed that Rhys Hoskins wasn't thrown out of the game and fined when he said F you to the ump after he clearly did not hit a game-tying homer. It clearly hit off the back of the top of the wall. So I don't know what he was crying about. They're Bush League. They're babies. I don't know. Those
are kind of arguments you never have any idea what people are saying. But nowadays I find like the umps, usually you never say anything to the umps, but these guys instigate stuff and it should be completely out of line. I mean, they're 1 year away from being replaced by robots. You better not instigate these things. I got to watch Joe West make 5,000 mistakes a game and hear him brag and be screw him. Get these guys
Oh,
out of here.
he's
Now you got
terrible.
me. What's going on here?
Now, Judge 0-2 count. I'm sorry.
Oh, the
But
dreaded 0-2. He's going to swing at one that skips off his shoes, isn't he?
well, I'm gonna tell you right now, the pitches that he's both swung and missed, and they're both out of the zone. He was looking to go deep early. Let's see, 0-2. Michael Fulmer.
There we go. 1-2. Michael
Oh,
Fulmer,
yeah.
remember the Yankees? That's who everyone wanted the Yankees to trade for. Get Fulmer. I don't know if that was 2 years ago. He was a young arm, another guy that was hurt that should come back. I don't know what his stats are, but I haven't heard much from him lately, and things aren't going well in Detroit.
I confuse him with Jabba Chamberlain. I don't know. He looks like him. But
where is Jobber Chamberlain right now? He's completely out of the league, huh?
Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah.
But
all right, come on, Judge. Come on, Judge.
Do you wait? You're watching it live or on like a little thing?
I'm watching it on my phone right now. Come on the.
Wait, I think you're ahead, so don't give a.
I don't. Oh, I'll give it ahead if I'm ahead. I'll mess with you.
He just got caught looking. The strike. You know what? There should be.
His strike zone is ridiculous.
I was just about to say that. You know what? They don't give him. That was definitely a strike, but they don't give him. He's
because he's gigantic.
They suck at their job. Like, I'm sorry, it's hard. It's hard. You're getting paid to do this. It is hard, but it's not hard to stay consistent though. That's the difference. It's hard to them,
I mean, I don't know. I've never been an umpire. I could barely see a pitch that fast to know how fast it's going, but it's super disappointing for sure. You know, it's in the world we live in where they have super slow-mo and freeze frame, and all of a sudden they're just like clearly show you that it was a bad call. It hurts.
Well, now they're grading umpires, which is great. We need that. They're grading them on every pitch they miss. And
yeah, but what happens if they stink? They don't do anything.
Yeah,
they don't get fired.
They just grade them. That's the problem.
It's like a weatherman. It's just like, oh yeah, it's not raining today. Boom, it's pouring. Nothing happens.
Yeah,
it's an easy job.
Now I do want to get your predictions for hockey, as we can make that our last topic. We have four second round matchups. I'm gonna go ahead and give my big opinion as always, because
let's hear it, Matty. What do you got?
Yesterday we had I did the fantasy for the pick 'em, and I have with the Islanders and Bruins. I have the Islanders beating the Bruins. I
have the Islanders beating the Bruins too, and
they lost 5. They lost 5-2. The Bruins. None of those teams have enough to win the Stanley Cup. I just don't. They can't. I just don't think they will. But yeah, the Bruins won game 1. Today we have the Lightning on the road versus the Canes, and I'm not a Canes fan, but I would love to.
Oh, you're a Canes fan. Come on.
No, I would love to see the Canes beat the living out of the Lightning. I hate Florida hockey. I hate any.
I agree. I can't root for Florida hockey here.
It's ridiculous. The Canes will not win the Stanley Cup. They do not have enough. They'll either lose in the final or the conference final. Then you got Vegas versus the Avalanche. Now I know you hate Vegas, but they've been pumping up a good crowd. I would rather than.
And I don't care anything about Vegas. Vegas hockey is right there with Florida hockey. I don't care. The only reason it exists for people to fly to Vegas and watch their team beat Vegas. Vegas should be a minor league.
You would go to a game there. Would you go to?
Of course I would. That's the whole point of the excitement. Like the Raiders moved to Vegas. 50% of that crowd is going to be people going to Las Vegas for the weekend to watch their team. There's going to be no home field advantage in that stadium. Yes, Raiders fans are crazy and all that stuff, but Vegas is a travel city. People are going to go there. It's like when you go to New Orleans, it's like, oh, it's a cool city for a weekend. I could go there. Vegas is the perfect city for a short trip to go see your team. I think it kills the home field advantage. I think the Vegas Golden Knights should stink. I hate their name, the Golden Knights. I hate their uniforms. I hate that you're playing hockey in the middle of a 120-degree desert. It's ridiculous. Why was it named after gambling? It's terrible. Colorado, cold, snow, hockey. That's who should win. Avalanche. They win in 6. Goodbye, Vegas. Get off the ice. Don't want to see you anymore. I hope you never make the playoffs again.
I'll tell you why I picked Vegas going.
Well, I knew
went
you
to
picked
this.
Vegas.
I went to the stat sheet for this one, and as much as great as the Avalanche are, they've really blown it the last couple of playoffs. They've had a couple great series, and there's that one series that they just blow it, and it's been consistently in the second round. The last 2 years, they've left the playoffs in the second round. They lost to Dallas last year in a series they easily
Another
should have won.
city with hockey, Dallas.
They
Come on,
they
it's
they
ridiculous.
they blow it, and I think Vegas is a good enough team to make them blow it again. Vegas won't win the cup. I don't know. I picked the Maple. Now you have the other series that's not over in the first round and be Game 7 Leafs, Canadians.
Go Leafs.
I picked the
Actually, I
Leafs.
like Montreal too, but
I picked the Leafs. Something about the Canadians I think would be good for.
Montreal's an awesome city. Yeah, fun city. Yeah,
Any
but
Canadians
I still have a little Rangers rivalry with them. It doesn't feel the same with Toronto.
Yeah,
So.
but they're not that good. I mean, well, they are good, but like if you look at it, the Rangers had a better record than the Canadians did, and the Canadians are a win away from the second round, which is ridiculous. But
It is what
that's
it is.
the world we live
Yeah,
in.
yeah, that's the rules. We follow the rules, and that's what you can do.
Well, that's the stat that eats at me every night. Is I look
Yeah,
around
you can't do that. It's like look at the Giants last year. They had 6
like,
wins. They almost made the playoffs. If
no,
you're
but that's
not in
different.
there,
That's different.
no,
That's
it's different because it's our team. It's different. Some years the rules
No, but
break
I'm
for
saying-
you. Some years the rules
I'm-
break against you, and it sucks. So
I'm saying though more with like the Giants were 6-9, it's not deserving to make the playoffs. But if you look at it,
no, you should not make the playoffs if you're under 500.
yeah, the Rangers were 4 games above 500 in any other division. They would have made the playoffs, and if it was in the old conference setup, they would have easily made the playoffs. So
Well,
it's
that's
only
like the Yankees crying, or the Red Sox, or I can imagine the tears that Orioles fans could cry. Hey, for the last 20 years, I played with the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Rays, like just getting thumped all the time. Like, wouldn't they want to play in a division where everyone stinks? Like, come on.
You can put them in the East.
Yeah, in the NFL this year, it's going to be like, oh, you got to play in the NFC West. You got to play with the Rams. You got to play with the Seahawks. Like, you got to play with the 49ers. That's the Cardinals. They're all good. Sometimes it works for you. Sometimes it doesn't. Giants are lucky. Their division is a big stink fest right now.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Rays win again right now.
And the Yankees lose again. But baseball, don't worry. Hang in there.
You got a 3 or 4 game set against the Rays, and you got against the Red Sox.
The Red Sox, you got to make your mark. You got to come out swinging. You got to hit the ball. You got to get some confidence going. You got to get your number one starter a win. Yeah.
The problem is, I think the Yankees, they go out every year. Cashman has the goal, get the starting pitching. So now a month and a half in the year, we're like, oh, we actually have pretty good starting pitching. That was really the idea.
Hey, for once we got pitching.
But then you lose Kluber now. Tyone's too inconsistent. Montgomery's inconsistent.
I still like Montgomery.
Herman, I like Herman.
I can't stand Herman. Get him off the team. Anyway, let's end something on a positive note.
Yeah.
Let's feel the energy. The Knicks are going to win Game 5. The Garden's going to be rocking. Your brother's going to be in town, in my town this week, and be up here for a month. We'll be able to go to a game. I'll whip his ass in golf a little, show him the ropes, make him do some work, and we'll be talking again soon, Matty.
He needs a good whoop.
Give me your score for the Knicks game.
I'm gonna go with a big score, 115-103 Knicks.
All right, and Yankees Red Sox. You think they win the series?
Yankees are gonna. Is it a 3 or 4 game set against the Rays?
You know me. I have no idea. I know about today, Matty. Let's say it's 3.
I'll say then. Let's see. It's a 4 game set against the Rays. They split against the Rays, sweep the Red Sox. That's how.
I love it. I'll take it. I'll sign up for it now, Matty. It's been good for all yous out there. Stay with us, Knicks, Rangers,
every Sunday,
Giants.
join here.
That's all we got, Matty. I'll talk to you soon. Brother in tow. Good luck with baseball this week, buddy. Love you. See ya.
Love you too. Bye.
Bye.